Hi, welcome to my channel. This is Starshine with C-PTSD and spirituality. Here we like to talk about it as consciously practicing tools and strategies daily for life, to get through life. Just a few talking points today that I wanted to touch base on would be the effects of the effect on the self-esteem after trauma. There's several things, but I'm just going to touch base on a few. One of the things that can take place after trauma, especially in childhood trauma, is a negative self-talk. Things that had happened in a young mind that can't comprehend things, and then they start believing, or not just that they believe it, but because of their people around them and how they handle situations, you can they build something where the inner dialogue becomes, it was your fault. If you were good, this wouldn't happen to you. You're always a problem. You're always sick. And that's just a few examples that can, and over time, it builds upon itself. And then you have a dialogue inside you that can prevent you from stepping out and growing and chasing after new things. And the other thing I like to talk about, because this one is this one's a big one for me, is hypervigilance. Hypervigilance is also, I think, for me, when something like that happens, and you can't trust anything or anyone around, I think your senses kick in, or your senses want to kick in. So you have a heightened sense of smell, taste, sound, energy, and it can lead you to be in a constant state of fear and always on edge, sensory overload. There's so much that can be said about potential threats that really aren't there, but your psyche has been hardwired to, no matter where you go, no matter who you're around, to be on a lookout. Even if you don't realize it, I think the subconscious is in the background working on deterring threats or fear of threats. It's always there. And then the other thing that I want to talk about with the self-esteem part too is some people with PTSD, C-PTSD, probably both. I guess it doesn't really matter. One is, I think we touched base on that yesterday, where post-traumatic stress disorder is, an event that can happen for a shorter time frame, or a one-time thing. It doesn't minimize. There's not a difference that minimizes either form or any form of trauma. But a complex is more of perpetuation of many traumas over time. And then it becomes so complex, I think, because a big initial, especially in the very young stages of life, and then they keep building on, and then there's no healing or figuring out how to heal or helping that person heal And so it carries forward. So then other things with that hyper vigilance, hyper awareness, and then you become super sensitive. So new traumas come because of the side effects of all of that. So it's almost a continuous state of healing, and some things just don't heal. Therefore, we learn to cope. But the other thing I want to talk about was the difficulty in setting boundaries. Knowing that you have your heightened sensitivity, your hypervigilance, low self-esteem, you're still human. And humans like connection, humans like being with other people, being social. And sometimes they don't set boundaries or even talk about their needs to anybody, because there's a huge fear of abandonment or rejection. And so the person can, sometimes I do, I'm gonna get real, this channel is because I have complex post-traumatic stress disorder, but putting on a big armor in a sense, because you want to be with people, you want to connect with people, but ultimately your internal system has no trust in people. And so therefore, boundaries don't get set, and needs don't get talked about, because there's the fear of the abandonment, there's the fear of rejection, there's a fear of being found out that you're terrified. You're terrified to make a connection. You're terrified to be in a room with people. You're terrified to step outside of the box. I mean, it's so much easier to stay in a space where you feel safe or create a safe space. And most of the time, I say I've been doing this, I've been doing this for a long, long time, 48 years. I'm 48 years old, and I was born into trauma, and I'm sure that I came from a long line of trauma. And then, trauma happened to me throughout my lifetime. And so I've had to find strategies and tools to be able to be social and connect and try and trust and work with the subconscious and work with the nervous system to regulate and participate in life actively instead of reactively. So my self-care regimen is super important in order for me to consistently manage without so many setbacks. And part of that, part of my self-care is I try to meditate on a daily basis, sometimes, more than once on a daily basis. There'll be times when, I just kind of have created a way to, when I can feel things coming up, to just, inside my mind, speak one of my mantras or an affirmation, self-talk that, everything's okay, you're okay. Remove myself, go outside, something like that. Practicing mindfulness. Mindfulness is different for everybody, but it's, really just kind of looking out with empathy and compassion and kindness. And sometimes when I perceive, if I'm struggling somewhere and I perceive danger, even if it's not there, but my body or my subconscious or energy, whatever, wants to say that they're, be afraid, looking for calming things colors, sounds, children, animals, tuning out things by trying to, and that's the cool thing about hypervigilance. You know, you could be sitting in a room with a lot of energies and feeling on edge, but then looking for a sound, looking for sound, listening for a sound, looking for something beautiful, or focusing on something that smells good, and you can like totally channel that and get a sense of calm because it's very hard to self-regulate. Relaxation techniques, those are just kind of a few things I can touch base on now. I have had, you know, kind of couple of rough weeks, which eventually we'll get into. So whether you, whether you come on, Angela. So one of the other ways that I like to have self-care is stuff like this, creating. I love to create digital art, some of the things that I read, or even things that I think, or poetry that I write, or mantras or affirmations that I create. I like to put them on beautiful pictures. That is one of my main coping mechanisms, is trying to do what I can throughout every part of my day and into my life, is focusing and finding things that are beautiful or beautiful to me, and reminders, and those reminders of the beauty in my life and beauty in life itself is a coping mechanism that really works well for me. So thanks for being here, and I appreciate those are joining on this journey. I'm going to be working on getting better at this and making more videos, and build my self-esteem to be able to really get to a point where people can see a value in all that I have accumulated over the years to help myself and help others with that knowledge. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you again next time. So one of the other ways that I like to have self-care is stuff like this, creating. I love to create digital art, some of the things that I read, or even things that I think, or poetry that I write, or mantras or affirmations that I create. I like to put them on beautiful pictures. That is one of my main coping mechanisms, is trying to do what I can throughout every part of my day and into my life, is focusing and finding things that are beautiful or beautiful to me, and reminders, and those reminders of the beauty in my life and beauty in life itself is a coping mechanism that really works well for me. So thanks for being here, and I appreciate those are joining on this journey. I'm going to be working on getting better at this and making more videos, and build my self-esteem to be able to really get to a point where people can see a value in all that I have accumulated over the years to help myself and help others with that knowledge. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you again next time.